It's not that big of a secret that Mexico is a misogynistic society, and in our opinion, the best way to solve this problematic is sorority. So, sorority, by definition, is defined as the relationship of sisterhood and solidarity between women in order to create support networks that promote social impact towards equity and equality. With this being said, hi, our topic is sorority in tech millennium. Here's our project. We as women have noticed certain situations or maybe behaviors from women towards us, our friend group, or other women in tech millennium regarding sorority or hatred towards women. And we consider that the concept and existence of this is not really known by everyone in tech millennium. And we believe that it is a huge problem that not all women are empathic towards each other. So we have noticed and we know that it can affect physically and mentally to women in society.
Although we think that the idea of sorority exists, people tend to stay quiet because of the unsureness of saying something wrong or receiving a bad answer. In this experiment, we will test our hypothesis by having our colleague Yvonne walk through all the Tech Millennium facilities with demonstrations staring on her skirt. And we will record her from afar to see if it is true that most people help her. We believe most people, especially women, will help her with her period stain, since there are people of the same age, 16 to 18 years old. They could better understand and help. Menstruation is not something strange or disgusting. It's a completely normal issue that all women experience.
But why are we doing this? We're doing this project because we want to see if women in tech millennium understand and practice the concept of sorority, and to carry out a support network in which we can explain the issue and have carried out, thus demonstrate that help between women is important, and finally figure out why and how girls behave and treat each other inside the school installations, and also try dig deeper to understand these type of behaviors. Sorority has many branches and variables that we needed to investigate in our main topic. The variables we define are perception of menstruation, social involvement in risky situations, sexual education, the knowledge that they have, and the participation of more genders in the feminism.
Currently, around the world, a continuous prevalence of taboos and stigmatizations towards menstruation is evident. The following note mentions data on how this issue is perceived and handled in Africa and countries such as India, and the measures of action that are being taken. As the text handled, periods are a reason for stigmatizations in many countries. On those days, women are dirty. Stripping it of such negative connotations is the goal of some international programs.
For example, Indian women are not allowed to cook when they have their period. They think their hands make food dirty, and they seclude themselves at home and do not dare to go out to not infect everyone who approaches to them with this curse that comes approximately every 28 days. In Tanzania, some girls use tree leaves, piece of cotton, or pages from school workbook to stem a flow of which they do not know the cause, even though it repeats itself every month. Nepali girls must sleep alone for a long time when they are on their periods.
It's sad that women aren't educated enough to know what's going on with their bodies. And it's even sadder that people think this way about them. Menstruation is an integral and normal part of human life. This is why menstrual hygiene is essential for a woman's well-being and dignity. Under basic hygiene, their well-being and of the health of their reproductive system, which all women and girls have as a fundamental right. People do not understand this issue, and we think this is very dangerous, because if they don't understand how to act on this issue, it's even worse on how they might act in a high-risk situation. Below, we will narrate two cases of high risk violence against two different women and analyze the consequences.
In Argentina's Chaco province, Diana, a 48 years old mother of 7, suffered for 28 years before finally deciding to separate from her abuser. I was not afraid he would hit me. I was convinced he would kill me, she explained. At first, she wanted his stand to file a complaint with the police for fear of how he might react, but as she learned about the service of local shelter, she realized she could escape her tormentor. He also decided to file a complaint. In this case, we can see that fear won for 28 years and the people around he did nothing to support her and help her. Sorely also out of fear, but in end she understood the two is better than one, decided to ask for help from the authorities and thus help her children and herself.
I'll read to you the second case. Case number 2. Goretti returned to Western Kenya in 2001 to bury her husband, and as the local culture dictates and indicates, stayed at her family's house. But they wouldn't give me food. They took everything I had brought from Nairobi, clothes, belonging, and distributed them among the family, she says. For nearly 20 years after her husband's death, Goretti was trapped in a life of abuse until her in-laws beat her so badly that she was hospitalized and unable to work. However, afraid to go to the police, Goretti contacted a local human rights defender who helped her get medical attention and report the case of abuse to the local authorities. However, she soon discovered that her in-laws had already forged an agreement with the police on her behalf to drop the case. But she didn't even know how to read.
Again, here we can see the fear that everyone has for not receiving any help. But here we not only see that problem, but the education that this woman has. She didn't know how to write. She could not even defend herself because of the resources and education she had. This is something very sad, because if she hadn't gone to the authorities, if she hadn't received the empathy and sorority of different feminist groups, she could have gone to death. That's why it is so important to be empathic and know how to ask for help and help others.
But can we all participate in sorority? We know it means the relationship of sisterhood and solidarity between women, in order to create support networks that promote social impact towards equality. But what do women think about men being part of the sisterhood? For this question, we take the liberty of asking other questions through Instagram, since we didn't find these answers in the news or on other internet sites. And these are the answers. The first one says, I think it should only be something between women, although it's okay for them to show respect and support. The next answer says, I think it's good for men to belong to the sorority, because in some emergency issue of violence they have more physical strength that could help. The next answer says, I think it's an issue that only women have to address, and that men shouldn't get involved in this issue. The next answer says, I think the term sorority should be for both men and women. The next answer says, why not, instead of dividing them, unify so that we could help each other instead of just women with women and men with men. Looking at these responses in general, I think the most women want it just to be an issue between women, but we would like the support of men and the respect.
We got around school for about an hour or an hour and a half to see how many material could we get and to see how many reactions could we get. But as you see, most of them are just indifferent. I mean, as you can see, they don't care, or they see her and they don't really say anything. I mean, even the teachers, our friends, we went with a group of friends and spent some time with them, and still they didn't even try to say something. It was very curious for us that it was actually a boy who told us that there was something going on.
With the variables we previously mentioned, we did a pool of 12 people, and here we are going to have the first question. Considering a friend of yours was in her period, and she has a stain of blood on her clothes, what would your reaction be? Let her know. I will tell her, and if it's necessary help, decirle de manera discreta y prestarle un suéter para que se cubra. Tell her and give her a sweater to cover it. Primero que nada, avisarle. Es algo completamente normal. La ayudaría a conseguirle una toalla, tal vez un cambio de ropa o una sudadera para amarrar en su pantalón. Le daría una pastilla, estaría pendiente de ella por si ocupa mi ayuda. Tell her in private. I will approach her and put a sweater around her. I will definitely stop her and borrow her something to cover until she can go to the bathroom and can change the clothes. Now I'm gonna say the analysis from the questions that from the answers that we got. The first one is, this person won't have shame to say what is going on. The second one is, this person wants to do more than say that she has a stain of blood. This person wants to help. The third one is, this person thinks that the best option is to be discreet, but at the same time helps her with a sweater. The fourth one is, we have the same answer. People think that the sweater helps a lot in these kind of cases. The fifth one is, this answer reflects that this person think that the menstruation is not a taboo and will help with everything that she needs. The sixth one is, this person thinks that it's better to say these kind of things on private. The next one is, we have the same one of the sweater, that this person thinks that the best option is the sweater and that it helps a lot to cover a stain of blood. Another one is, this person thinks that it's important to cover herself when she has a stain. Another one is, for this person isn't something strange. This person will help too. Another one, next. This answer says that it's important to be clean and change what you are wearing if you have a stain. The last one is, it's a woman process that happens 28 days. Menstruation occurs to cover certain fluids and get rid of them. Prepare the uterus for pregnancy.
Okay, now here we go to the analysis from the second question. What factors do you think affect the students of Tech Milenio in order to act with or without sorority in these kind of situations? The first answer was shame. I believe the students of Tech Milenio don't want to help others because they think something bad is going to happen to them, and they prefer to stay quiet rather than pay the consequences of something. The second question was their education. I know that not all schools teach about sexual education or how to treat and help people, and this affects the actions of sorority in society. The third question was, cada quien está en su mundo y no les interesa lo que suceda con otras personas. This could tell that people doesn't have empathy or the will to help others even if they are in real danger. This could also be due to the education they have at home and at school. The next answer was, sometimes they didn't act to avoid any problem. I think they are afraid of aggressions and what could happen thanks to them. The next answer was, creo que es la empatía de saber que a varias personas, que a varias nos puede suceder o nos ha llegado a pasar. They believe that empathy exists in tech millennium. They understand that there is some things that we cannot control. The next answer was the way they are raised or the way of thinking. I think they believe that education has to do with the action with empathy and kindness. The next answer was the education we have received, and that's all. They believe that the education we have at school or at home can affect our decisions in the theme of sorority. The next answer was, they are probably shy, but also can be taken as a rude attitude because they do not have empathy to help others. I think they are saying that maybe they want to help, but they are shy and have fear. But this action can be harmful and rude because they could be considered of disinterest. The next answer was, social acceptance and fear of the possible reactions that people may have. Teenage people have issues in their way people see them because of they can make fun of them or they can be judged. The next answer was, maybe the idea that the period is gross or that is something to laugh about. Most women don't see it like that because all of us have been in that situation. Our society still getting menstruation at the way to handle it, and the way to handle it like a taboo. But it is a problem because it's something that all woman has to deal with, and it's not something strange. Like, I don't understand why many people see menstruation as a taboo. But well, let's go to the other answer, and it says, lack of empathy or they simply use it to make it fun. When young people, teenage people, are trying to belong to student community, they do destructive comments that can be used as a joke or humor, but this can affect others with mentally health. And now the last question. There is a stigma in what is expected in a situation, and for both the woman and others who see something like that, what is happening could seem strange, perhaps uncomfortable, and it is depending on how others try to solve it that will define whether it's something uncomfortable or inappropriate. I didn't understand too much that question, but I believe that they have the thought that all stigmas aren't not all the stigmas are wrong. Like, some of them can differentiate the uncomfortable from the inappropriate. I believe that was the that this person was trying to say.
The next question was that if they think sorority is only between women or does it include more genders, and why. This answer was that yes, but they are getting involved. They think that some believe sorority is traditionally for women, but acknowledge that it's evolving with some men getting involved. The definition is Another answer was that the definition is only between women, but it's important to include more genders. Others think sorority should be inclusive of more genders, emphasizing the importance and respect of everyone. Another answer was that it includes everyone, but in a different way each gender. They suggest that it includes all genders, but separately, maintaining a distinction between them. The next answer was that the man can support it, but not being there directly. Another answer is that she thinks that when there's enough maturity and respect to people, the whole point of everything is to help everyone, and that it is something normal. Another answer that was that only between women, because other genders do not really understand what they have experienced. Another answer is that sorority is between women because it means support or friendship between women. The analysis of it is that some believe men could be included if they have female relatives, allowing them to understand the experiences involved. Another answer is that it definitely includes everyone, because we should help each other and look for the common good. This answer transcends gender, focusing only on commonality rather than exclusivity. Another answer is that it's just between women. If a man is supporting a woman, it's called solidarity, not sorority. The analysis of it is that while some associate sorority with feminism, others see it applicable to various social behaviors beyond gender. One more answer is that it may include men as well if they got some sisters or direct female relatives, so they know how to be in this situation. Almost the last answer is that she considers that regardless of the gender, there can be a sisterhood, because something of only one gender is not necessary. Sorority is typically refers to women social organizations, but sisterhood can extend beyond gender, welcoming all who identify with its values. And the last answer is that for most people, this term is related to feminism, but in general terms, we could apply more kind of social behaviors. The analysis of it is that the sisterhood transcends gender, allowing anyone to foster deep bonds akin to sorority based on shared experiences and support.
The next question is, do you think that school should teach you about both reproductive organs and their cycles? Why? First answer. It does. There is a subject here in Tech Millennium. This person could be a teacher trying to tell us that there is indeed a subject in Tech Millennium that teaches sexual education. Yes, sexual education is very important. Second answer. This person is interested in making known that the sexual education is indeed very important. Number 3. Yes, it's important to learn about our body to know how does it work so we can take right care of it. This person is telling that it is important to know about how to take care of our body, maybe because there are many ETAs, or maybe because she or he doesn't want to have any accidents. I guess men also need to know and understand the body of women. This person is telling that even if you are a man, you need to know about women's body and maybe vice versa. Of course, we're in an age of doubts and experimentations. It's completely normal that these type of things happen. And who better than the school to teach us and help us in this type of education? So this person is saying that the most important and useful information about sexual education is in schools and must be taught in schools. Yes, to understand the human body, this person is saying that it's important to know the parts of our body so we can know how to take proper care of it. Yes, it's basic information we should know for health. This person is saying that this is basic information, but unfortunately, there are a lot of people that don't know anything about sexual education, and maybe they don't even know when does menstruation come from. Next answer is yes, because it is something normal and important to know in case someone or even yourself needed something. This person is telling that knowing this information could help not only you, but it could be useful for helping others too. Of course, so we can be empathetic about this. This person is saying that this information must be spread so we can have information and be empathic with everyone. And the next one says, yes, it is something that should no longer be a taboo and should be seen normally. This person is saying that sexual education doesn't have to be a joke or some type of lightly taking topic. And the last one says, I think that this could be a topic. Well, it's important to have the knowledge, but I consider that just this practice could be the right measure. This person is saying that maybe the explanation of these kinds of topics should be a little more graphic, so we can all know how to take proper care of our body.
Do you think Tech Millennials community practices sorority, and why? The first subject says, yes, I think the students develop this practice by themselves. Here we can see that this subject agrees that sorority is something that we as individuals develop by ourselves. The second individual just answers with yes. This subject agrees that Tech Millennial does indeed practice sorority. The second one says no, porque cada persona está en su propio mundo. Here, this subject argues that sorority isn't practiced in Tech Millennial because everyone is minding their business and don't seem to care about anyone else. Another subject says no, they avoid it. Here, this subject argues that women avoid sorority in Tech Millennial for unknown reasons. Another subject says, creo que lo intenta, muchas personas no lo son, sea por cuestión de madurez o de educación, pero la gente no respeta los valores que la escuela da. Sin embargo, hay gente muy linda que sí. Here, this subject argues that women in Tech Millennial try to practice sorority, but because of a difference in values or maturity, some others don't. Another subject says, I do, I've seen it often. This subject not only agrees that sorority is practiced in Tech Millennial, but also she has been a witness herself of it. Another subject says, a part of it does. I, as a woman, have been helped by a lot of wonderful girls. This subject argues that a part of Tech Millennial does practice sorority and that she herself has been helped by it. This subject says that Tech Millennial sometimes makes activities to promote sorority as an attitude, but sometimes it doesn't have the effect that it should have on students. Now, what this subject argues is that Tech Millennial tries to promote sorority, but that it doesn't have the desirable outcome that Tech Millennial wish it had on the students. This other subject says that yes, there are events and activities as well as behaviors in students and teachers that show that there is support for women. Now, this subject agrees that sorority is practiced thanks to the campaigns that Tech Millennial has throughout the semester and the values that teachers and students have. This other subject says, I wouldn't say that we have sorority community, but there have been some projects that expect to improve this. Now, this subject argues that Tech Millennial doesn't practice sorority, but that events and other activities may help develop this value inside the institution. This other subject says, no, I consider that there is still a lot of empathy and awareness needed to achieve it. Now, this subject believes that Tech Milenio still has to improve on its values before it truly starts practicing sorority. And lastly, on this issue, I think yes, acceptable attention is given, such as giving the girls a safe area and sanitary pads. Among teachers, I feel that several do not try to get involved in this, but others are the exception. Now, this lab subject agrees that Tech Milenio do indeed practice sorority by giving the female students a safe place and sanitary pads, but that some teachers don't seem to get involved, with few being the exception.
But why do we select polls for our method of investigation? There are 9 methods of investigation. We discard method by method until we reach the one that provides the best information according to our case. We discarded direct observation and participant observation because we did not have the time to observe the participants carefully. The same case happened to geological method, key informants, conversation, and life story, because these methods did not give us the necessary statistics. We discarded investigation oriented to several types of problems because we should only focus on one. That's why we use the structured poll method, because this method allows us to investigate a particular problem reaching many people, which results in accurate statistical data, where we can analyze numbers without the need to be in only one place. Our surveyed audience consisted of people within Tech Millennium, from students to teachers, without any distinction. This in order to delimit the study area and get more precise results.
Talking about sorority with men, this was controversial question, as we could see in the poll. We can see the people want men more included in the conversation, but not so much. It cannot be denied that the definition of sorority is exclusively between women. However, many women prefer men not involved more than it is necessary in the struggles which only women carry day by day.
In the topic of sexual education, all the interviewed agreed that it's necessary in schools to teach it. But this is a reflection of the type of people and what they see at home. We could see before that in Mexico, religion plays a very important role. This is a prohibitive role in the topic because it makes a taboo at home. For example, in states where there is much of right-wing political ideology, there is a lower understanding of sexual education, which is directly affecting the teenage pregnancies.
Throughout this experiment, we can observe that the subjects we interviewed would always help another student if said student had a menstruation stain in their clothing. But some others felt that other individuals may not help because of a lack of values of education, shame, or just to not get involved in any kind of issue. Some of the interviewed subjects also believe that sorority may also be supported by males, but most believe that sorority is something that should only be between females, as any other gender may not be able to truly comprehend the struggles of being a woman, making it so that when any other gender helps a female, it will not be sorority but solidarity.
And lastly, the interviewed believe that topics such as sexual education and menstruation should not be a taboo and should be normalized in order to teach the young and old alike about themselves and the people they interact with on a daily basis. With the results from the interviews, we can observe that sorority does indeed that take place in Tech Millennium, but some may feel that it still has ways to go because of lack of values, education, shame, or any other reason.